Welcome to the INFOWARS Nightly News. I'm your host, Jakari Jackson. It is November 25th, 2015, and here's a look at our top stories.
Tonight,
there's always been the idea that Turkey was supporting ISIS in some way. We know they've funneled people going through Turkey to ISIS. Someone's buying that oil that ISIS is selling. It's going through somewhere.
Former NATO Supreme Allied Commander General Wesley Clark says Turkey is indeed supporting ISIS. Meanwhile, Senator John McCain celebrates the latest developments in Syria.
I might do what we did in Afghanistan many years ago to give those guys the ability to shoot down those planes. That equipment is available.
Plus, Michael Moore tells the governor of Michigan that he's ready to take home Syrian refugees. Well, let's send them these guys. What do you say there, Michael? All that plus much more up next on the INFOWARS Nightly News.
Clean, pure drinking water. You can't survive without it. But where do you get it? Alexa Pure Pro is a brand new, groundbreaking, gravity-fed water filtration system that is like no other. The Alexa Pure Pro transforms water from virtually any fresh source into clean, healthy drinking water, pairing the unprecedented superfiltration power of an all-new gravity block core with a hybrid chromatic shell. It removes up to 99.999% of impurities, including bacteria, viruses, fluoride, disinfectants, volatile organic contaminants, and hormones. Filter capacity up to 5,000 gallons. Stainless steel construction, easy assembly, low maintenance. Replacement filters are simple to install. And now, as part of an exclusive limited time introductory offer, you can save $20 off the retail price and get free shipping. This is a limited time offer, so order your unit today and receive free shipping and $20 off. Go to InfoWarsStore.com or call 888-253-3139.
After Turkey shot down a Russian jet, all eyes are on the area, and now we have a former NATO general saying that Turkey is actually in support of ISIS.
All along, there's always been the idea that Turkey was supporting ISIS in some way. We know they've funneled people going through Turkey to ISIS. Someone's buying that oil that ISIS is selling. It's going through somewhere. It looks to me like it's probably going through Turkey.
And that was former NATO Supreme Allied Commander General Wesley Clark as he responded to yesterday's shoot down of a Russian fighter jet by pointing out that Turkey is in support of ISIS. But that's not to say that he is in support of Russia either. If you watch that full clip, he has some very harsh things to say about them as well. But as we talk about Turkey's involvement with ISIS, you know, it was earlier this year, we have the flashback article about a Turkey prime minister who was caught arming ISIS. And some people saying, hey, this is just one rogue guy. You know, his actions have no reflection on the Turkish military or Turkish government in general. And people said, okay, maybe that is true. But now that we have a NATO or former NATO commander coming out and saying these things, people are starting to wonder if Turkey does have a larger involvement. And the article says Turkey's prime minister was caught shipping arms to ISIS in January, which may explain why the NATO ally shot down a Russian jet targeting ISIS militants on Tuesday. And as we stressed, we don't know 100% for sure what their motivation was. We're going to talk to David Knight more about that in our coming segments. But as we talk about not just things that are going on foreignly, but we talk about things that are going on domestically and the terror alert in general, because we've seen, of course, the recent attacks in Paris. We've seen the attacks earlier in places like Dallas, you know, going on all over the world. And now we have social media reacting to the State Department's declaration that pretty much the whole world is under a travel advisory. And just in case you didn't know, the State Department issued a worldwide travel warning for Americans just in time for the holidays. And this goes all the way through February 24th. So it goes through Thanksgiving, through Christmas, through New Year's. So if you're pretty much any place on planet Earth, they want you to be shaking in your boots, afraid of an imminent attack. Now, we're going to take a look at some of these tweets here of people voicing their opinions about this. One person said, I was going to leave the office soon, but now what am I supposed to do? Another person said, well, at least Obama has ISIS contained to the planet Earth. Another said, does this advisory apply to golf courses in and around the United States? I'm pretty sure those would be pretty safe. And also the president is having a bit of trouble containing this J team. As you guys may recall, Obama had previously stated that ISIS was the JV team, and they have been growing in strength somewhat thanks to our politicians. I don't want to say the government or military in general, but certain politicians continuing to fund these guys, not just ISIS, Al-Qaeda, different organizations doing different things. And that's always what it is, which so many people don't understand. They get, I guess, upset now because the TV tells them to get upset and jump up and come to the defense of the Syrian rebels, or should I say the Syrian refugees. And definitely my heart goes out to these people, but my heart goes out to them because we have an administration that's continuing to fund people who are making that region worse. They're funding Al-Qaeda, they're airdropping grenades to ISIS, and then after they use our tax money to go over there and tear up their country, they say use more of your tax money to bring them here. Meanwhile, Obama's not offering up his penthouse in Chicago. He's not housing people in the White House. When they go tear up Iraq, the Bush family isn't putting people on their private residence, but they want you, the American taxpayer, to fund all this stuff. And like I said, I do support a open borders policy as long as they pass the background checks, whatever that may be. I'm not exactly how deep that process goes, but we have seen the top advisors saying that, Mr. President, we can't vet 10,000 people at a time. And the Obama administration say, screw that, bring them all here. I don't know if it's guilty conscience or what exactly it is. Like I said, I do feel for the people, but it's really the top administration who should be taking care of this problem, not the American taxpayer. And now let's talk about this continued threat. And the FBI is saying, be aware of copycat killers, copycat attacks like we've seen in places like Paris. But Obama has said there is no credible plot against the homeland. The FBI sent a bulletin earlier this week to police departments across the country warning of possible copycat incidents and sharing intelligence on how the assailants in Paris carried out the attacks this past, or I guess a couple weeks ago, that killed 130 people. So they want you to be sober, vigilant, and all these things. And of course, you do want to be safe around the holidays. Yes, terrorists do like to target places like movie theaters or sporting events, malls, places like that. It's not always ISIS. It could be some domestic guy as well. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't go out and enjoy life, because after 9/11, we were told what? These people hate us for our freedoms. And when we sit around shaking in our boots, afraid to go to the football game, then yeah, the terrorists win. You don't want the terrorists to win. I also don't want the TSA to fill me up if I go to the Super Bowl, but that doesn't mean I want to sit around at the house. So, just try to be as safe as you can this holiday weekend or the holidays in general. But once again, don't let people win by taking away your freedoms. Now, as I was speaking earlier about the White House doing all these things that make the rest of the planet worse, meanwhile, they're not housing people that come here seeking refuge, just like, after Iran-Contra, Reagan wasn't bringing people into his private ranch who were affected by that. Same thing with Bush, Obama, any of these other politicians as well. And now Michael Moore, a guy who I'm not a fan of at all, but, he made a decent statement here. He said, hey, I will house people who are refugees from Syria. Now, this is in wake of many governors, politicians talking about how they don't have a desire or a willingness to bring Syrian refugees to the country at this point in time because of terror concerns. Now, as I stated earlier, the Obama administration has a very large play in this, but now Michael Moore, a private citizen, is saying, hey, I'll bring people to my house. And I have no issue with private individuals, churches, other people who volunteer their homes to affected people, not just from Syria, they could be Pakistan, Yemen, Mexico, wherever. If private individuals and churches or people of that nature want to open their homes up, that's fine. My issue is when they try to force that on the American people. As the circle goes, we all know it goes all the way back up to the White House while the people are coming here anyway. Now, in a letter to Snyder, that is the governor of Michigan, that Moore posted on his Facebook page, the director wrote, I just want to let you know that contrary to your decision to deny Syrian refugees a home in our state of Michigan, I myself am going to defy your ban and will offer my home in Michigan to those very Syrian refugees you decided to keep out. He said he would contact the State Department and let them know that he is happy to house people in his home. I'm very curious to see if he follows up on that. I'd really like to see a statement from the State Department saying that Michael Moore actually did call them and offer his residence. If you did, good job you being a humanitarian. But once again, why don't we start holding the people who are doing these very anti-humanitarian things accountable when they go blow up these foreign countries. Now, to talk about things here domestically, If you're in the state of Florida, I guess you're in a pretty good state of mind right now, because I guess apparently all the police have caught all the rapists, murderers, child molesters. You don't have to worry about drunk drivers or anything else going on in your area, because the crime rate, in my mind, just from reading this headline, must have gotten so low that the police have nothing else to do but bust old women who are playing mahjong. Police bust weekly mahjong game played by elderly women. And the group was accused of the crime, 4 women between the ages of 87 and 95. One of the women said word spread about their weekly gathering, and a troublemaker in the community called the police, citing a law that prohibits playing the game for money. Police closed the clubhouse. And it reminds me of that old Seinfeld episode, like, what's the guy named Bookman? Like, this guy went around tracking down people and arresting them for having books or overdue library books. And that didn't just happen in a Seinfeld episode, that actually happened in real life. They said, hey man, if you don't show up with this book, you're gonna go to jail. Eventually the guy came in with the book. But it just goes to show like the hierarchy, the state of mind of the police state, when they will just forego all these very serious, very heinous crimes to crack down on the old ladies. Probably there's some widows in there, I'm sure, 87 to 95. I'm pretty sure some of these ladies are just lonely and just want people to hang out with. So they get together, they want to have a mahjong game, they want to play poker, whatever they want to do. If they want to sit around smoking cigars and drinking beer and watching the game, I don't care what they do. They're old. They let them do what they want to do, but now the cops want to come down and bust these people. It's just completely ridiculous. At least they didn't show up with an MRAP and pepper spray them and flashbang them, but man, it is wild how they continue just to crack down people who just do pretty much nothing wrong whatsoever. Now, as we're talking about the police, let's talk about police and political correctness. And we have a sheriff saying that he is politically incorrect and very proud of it. This is the gentleman in Harris County, Georgia. And this is Sheriff Mike Jolly. Paid for by Jolly, the sign reads, "Warning, Harris County is politically incorrect. We say Merry Christmas, God bless America, and in God we trust. We salute our troops and our flag. If this offends you, leave." So this is a man standing up for the right to be politically incorrect, because we've all seen the war on Christmas. I'm not talking about this faux war, taking Santa Claus off coffee cups, and that has nothing to do with Christianity whatsoever. But we have seen people telling kids you can't wear crosses in schools, all types of different things, saying you can't have a Christmas celebration in your town. You have to call it Winter Festival or, Christmas Tree Day or whatever type of silly things they do. Now this man is coming out saying, hey, I'm not going to fall for that. I'm going to exercise my rights to call Christmas what it is and greet people and say, God bless you and God bless America. Now, if you say that this sign offends you for whatever reason, you say it's wrong for a person, official, spokesman of the government to come out and say all these things and put up the sign saying that he's politically incorrect, I want to direct your attention to a statement made by Governor Cuomo from New York. And he says that gun-loving pro-lifers are not welcome in New York. He doesn't want these right-wing extremists. So while people will jump up and down, I'm sure, about Mr. Jolly in Georgia saying that he was politically incorrect and saying all the things that he said, a lot of people had no issue with Governor Cuomo saying that these extreme conservatives who are right to life, pro-assault weapon, and anti-gay, referring to Republicans, they have no place in the state of New York, the governor said, because that's not who New Yorkers are. He's saying, I'm going to tell you who New Yorkers are, the people who think exactly like me. And of course, we know that's not the case. If the governor of Texas jumped up and said that, I'd say, no, I don't agree with everything you say. And one person actually put out a tweet. It says, if you want to live in New York, you have to agree with Governor Cuomo. What an arrogant, undemocratic mindset. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And as he was talking about guys who are anti-gun or, pro-gun, we all know these politicians, especially big governors, guys like that, they have armed bodyguards. So why can't the people of New York exercise their right to carry a firearm, Mr. Governor? Also saying people who are pro-life, right to life. What is possibly wrong with that? As I was talking about yesterday on the Alex Jones Show doing the Overdrive segment, I mean, all these people, they're anti-gun, they're